Rhaenys' silent betrayal explained. The queen who never was speaks through fire. What if I told you that the most devastating betrayal in House of the Dragon wasn't executed with poison, scheming, or whispered conspiracies, but with a dragon's roar and the deafening silence of what came after? Rhaenys Targaryen, the queen who never was, had the entire Green faction cornered like rats at Aegon's coronation, and instead of ending the Dance of the Dragons before it even began, she chose mercy. Or did she? Because here's the thing. Sometimes the cruelest betrayal is not what you do, but what you refuse to do when the world is watching. Before we dive into the flames of this absolute powder keg of a decision, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell, because we are breaking down every shocking move, every burning bridge, and every dragon-sized mistake in Westeros. And trust me, you do not want to miss what is coming next. Let's set the scene. King's Landing, the Dragon Pit. Thousands of people crammed together to witness Aegon's coronation, a ceremony so illegitimate it makes every stolen election in history look legitimate by comparison. Rhaenys is trapped beneath the floorboards of history, literally imprisoned while the Greens crown their drunken, incompetent puppet king. But Rhaenys is not just any prisoner. She is a Targaryen. She is a dragon rider, and her dragon, Meleys, the Red Queen, is conveniently housed right there in the Dragon Pit. So what does she do? She breaks free, crashes through the coronation like the world's most terrifying party crasher, and stares down the entire Green faction with a dragon that could barbecue them all in approximately 3 seconds flat. And then she leaves. She just leaves. Alicent, Otto, Aegon, Aemond, Criston Cole, the architects of usurpation, the engineers of war, the people who literally stole the throne from its rightful heir, all standing there like sitting ducks. One word, one command, Dracarys. That is all it would have taken. The Dance of the Dragons? Cancelled. The civil war that would tear Westeros apart and kill thousands? Prevented. Rhaenyra's claim? Secured. But Rhaenys pulls back. She roars. She makes her statement. And she flies away, leaving the Greens to breathe the biggest sigh of relief in the history of ill-gotten crowns. Now, the internet exploded after this scene aired. Was it mercy? Was it honor? Was it a woman refusing to become a mass murderer? Or was it the single biggest tactical blunder since Robb Stark decided to marry for love instead of bridges? Let's talk about what this moment really means, because Rhaenys did not just spare the Greens. She betrayed every person who would die in the war that followed. Here's where things get spicy. Rhaenys had legitimate reasons to hesitate. Killing Aegon at his own coronation, in front of thousands of small folk, would make her look like a tyrant. It would paint Rhaenyra's cause as ruthless and bloodthirsty before the war even started. The optics? Absolutely terrible. Imagine the propaganda the Greens could spin if Rhaenys incinerated a king in front of his adoring subjects. Never mind that those subjects were bribed, threatened, and herded there like cattle. Perception matters in Westeros, and Rhaenys knew that crowning a queen with the ashes of her enemies might not be the best look. But here is the counter-argument that keeps me up at night. The Dance of the Dragons was not some hypothetical future conflict. It was inevitable. The Greens had already committed treason. They had already imprisoned Rhaenyra's supporters. They had already sent assassins after her family. This was not a disagreement that could be solved with diplomacy and strongly worded ravens. This was war, and in war, hesitation kills. Rhaenys had the chance to save thousands of lives by taking 5, and she chose not to. Every soldier who died in battle, every child who starved during the blockade, every dragon that fell from the sky, their blood is partially on her hands because she had the power to stop it and walked away. Let us talk about the symbolism here, because House of the Dragon loves its visual storytelling. Meleys bursting through the floor of the Dragon Pit is not just a cool action sequence. It is a metaphor. Rhaenys is literally breaking through the foundation of the patriarchy that denied her the throne decades earlier. The Dragon Pit, a symbol of Targaryen power contained and controlled, shatters as this woman and her dragon reclaim their agency. She roars in their faces. She shows them that she could end them. And then she chooses not to. It is a power move, sure, but it is also a tragedy, because by sparing them, she dooms herself and everyone she loves to the very war she could have prevented. Now, let us address the elephant in the room, or should I say the dragon in the pit. Some fans argue that Rhaenys could not kill the Greens because it would make her no better than them. That honor and morality matter, even in war. And you know what? I respect that perspective. But Westeros is not a world where honor wins. Ned Stark tried honor. Robb Stark tried honor. They both lost their heads. The Greens were not going to show Rhaenyra mercy. They were not going to negotiate. They were going to hunt down every Targaryen loyalist and every dragon egg until the throne was unquestionably theirs. Rhaenys knew this. She lived through the great council that denied her the throne simply because she was a woman. She knew exactly what kind of people she was dealing with, and she still let them live. But maybe that is exactly the point. Maybe Rhaenys refusing to become a kinslayer, refusing to murder children like Helena's kids who were standing right there, is what separates her from the monsters. Maybe her silence was not weakness, but strength. The strength to choose a harder path, knowing it would cost her everything. Because make no mistake, this decision did cost her everything. Rhaenys would later die at Rook's Rest, shot down by Aemond and Vhagar in one of the most brutal dragon battles ever put to screen. The same people she spared at the coronation would be responsible for her death. That is the cruel irony. Her mercy became her undoing. And here is where we get to the real betrayal. It was not just a betrayal of Rhaenyra or the Blacks or the political alliance. It was a betrayal of herself. Rhaenys spent her entire life being denied power because men decided she was not worthy. She was passed over for the throne. She was called the queen who never was, like it was some cute nickname, instead a monument to injustice. And in that moment at the dragon pit, she had all the power. She had the dragon. She had the element of surprise. She had the moral justification. And she gave it away. She silenced herself again. She let the men who stole her crown live to steal another. That is the tragedy. Not that she was merciful, but that she was conditioned to believe her power was something Tozo. What is the lesson here? What is Rhaenys teaching us through her silence and her fire? Maybe it is that war makes monsters of us all, and refusing to become one has its own terrible price. Maybe it is that sometimes the right choice and the smart choice are not the same thing. Or maybe, just maybe, it is that the Game of Thrones does not reward mercy. Rhaenys Targaryen was the queen who never was. And at the dragon pit, she had the chance to become the queen who ended it all. Instead, she became the woman who let the dance begin. And Westeros burned for it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, the throne awaits.